2011 for the government was a year of breaking away from precedents. And it began on 5th of April when Anna sat on fast along with 100 others in the heart of Delhi's Jantar Mantar, gripping the nation's attention, catching the establishment unawares. 5 days later, on 9th of April, the government climbed down. It proposed inclusion of Team Anna in the Lokpal Drafting Committee. From a no-compromise no to a crisis-diffusing yes, the government conceded ground. But then began the biggest slugfest of the year. A crisis almost unmanageable. Hardening of stance. An us versus them debate. The my way or the highway approach.
For instance, I am a citizen of this country. I can always say that this should be the law that should be passed by the parliament. Can I say or can I not say? I can say that. The parliament may listen to me, they may not listen to me. It is up to them. So when I say that, the parliament will not listen to me. But then I go and start forming public opinion about it. And if lakhs of people take to streets and start raising the same demand, that no, this is the right law, the parliament ought to pass this law, they are well within their rights to do it. The parliament may or may not listen to it. But when crores of people start saying it, the parliament will have to listen to it. So it is not my way or highway.
You can't wear a cloak of saintliness and believe that you alone know how to distinguish between vice and virtue. Once you do that, you curb other voices of dissent.
This public response that it generated had two specific reasons. One is that over the last year or so, you had the unfolding of these various camps. You had the 2G, most of the action that has taken place on this issue and other issues, whether Commonwealth Games, whether it's the 2G, those who are in jail today have not been in jail because of the government. They are today in jail because of the Supreme Court or the CBI or the CAG, whatever it is, but these are all constitutional authorities. But it's not the government of the day. So the government of the day appeared as though that they are not interested in the whole thing, and somebody has to force them to do something.
The Lokpal bill has been sold by the media relentlessly as a magic wand against corruption, which it is not. Unless you tackle the roots, the chopping off a branch or two is not going to help. Do not only increase the price of corruption. More and more regulation has only meant more and more expensive is governance. The bribe goes up.
Supposing there is an agitation, say by Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan sitting together and going on fast, the TV channels will be thrilled. They can call for a Jan Penal Code. Scrap this penal code, we don't want it. We will have a Jan Penal Code and draft their own. The people can do that. This is not the way that, of course, the people have a right to be heard by the parliament. Just because we have elected representatives, we cannot leave everything in their hands, and particularly when they are an irresponsible set. But by putting on a towel on your head and lampooning them, forgetting your own status, at least the status that you occupied earlier, is that the way to do all this? No.
Two months and 9 meetings later, the government moved ahead with its version of the Lokpal. A debate started. Who was arm twisting whom?
All members of parliament and all leaders of the different parties told us today, no question. Now, it's not a question of introducing the Jan Lokpal bill, it's the question of taking on the entire opposition of this country and to say to them, we don't care about what you think. Now, I don't think that would be sensible political parliamentary protocol.
What we were doing was perfect democracy. What the government was doing was my way or highway. 5 ministers sitting in the government drafted a completely useless law, ineffective law, a law which actually encourages corruption, a law which tends to protect the corrupt people, a law which seeks to imprison the people who raise their voices against corruption. 5 ministers in the government draft that law, and they try to impose that law on the people of this country in the name of we are the elected people, so we have all the legitimacy and you people have no right to raise your voice. That is my way of highway.
Anna Hazare and his team planned their next protest. August 2011, 7:15 a.m. A preemptive strike from the Delhi police. Anna was arrested hours before he was to break into the venue of the proposed fast in Delhi, permission to which was denied. The arrest and 3 days in Tihar jail gave a fillip to Anna's movement, adding people by the thousands every minute. What happened then is recent history. A couple of statements by the Prime Minister, both inside and outside the Parliament.
Draft of a bill upon Parliament is totally misconceived and fraught with grave consequences for our parliamentary democracy. When some sections of society deliberately challenge the authorities of the government and the prerogatives of Parliament, it is the bounden duty of government to maintain peace.
The party's principal troubleshooter stepped in. The astute political mind of the government. 2 days of him negotiating and a couple of climb downs later from both sides, a compromise was struck.
Bharat Mata Ki! Vande! Vande! Inklab! Inklab!
And what Parliament did then was unprecedented.
In-principle agreement. It was very difficult, but one thing was to be kept in mind, that we cannot afford to allow the situation to deteriorate, because concern about corruption is genuine and it affects all. The large volume of support which he was gathering, it is because of the fact that people sometimes feel helpless because of the corruption in the system. Therefore, this was to be addressed.
I certainly think that the authorities, and that includes the government at the higher levels, tried to handle it to the best of their abilities. It is certainly possible to fault people by hindsight. Indeed, it is possible for people themselves to accept errors of judgment or other errors ex post facto. I don't think there was the slightest malafide or the slightest lack of good faith in any of the actions. Yes, some of them may not have been quite in tune with what the ambience was. Yes, some of them may not have been ideal if judged retrospectively, but I think it was done with the best of interests, trying to balance multiple things at that time, which included law and order, which included the health of someone, which included the demands of constitutional propriety and constitutional principle. So I think this was the approach.
But the suspense still remains over how deals were struck and what was discussed in backroom negotiations. that eventually diffused the crisis.
I can only assure you that there was not a single meeting about which we did not inform the people and the media. We were completely transparent.
Frankly, I have no idea at all because, I was somewhat separated from them. I was in Bangalore, but I was in there with them. I was attending the protest that was going on in Freedom Park at Bangalore. There was a communication gap between us and Delhi, and very many times I was unable to answer questions from the media or people when certain decisions were taken. Why was that decision taken? And I was not able to answer that. So I am not a party or privy to what was happening, if at all there was a backroom negotiation.
I believe that Sri Anna Hazare has decided to break his fast tomorrow at 10 a.m. We were worried about his health, and naturally fasting for such a long period of time would have damaged his health. In addition to that, it would have created a substantial agitation in Delhi and other parts of the country. Therefore, it was all-out effort made by Prime Minister from the beginning to see that the situation does not go out of control, and fortunately with the cooperation of all concerned, we have been able to work out a mechanism through which these issues have been sorted out for the time being.